Integrity, courage, and humility. As members of this honorable House, we are entrusted with the hopes, struggles, and aspirations of the Jamaican people, and we must remain faithful stewards of that responsibility. I express sincere gratitude to my family for their unwavering love, sacrifice, and support. Their encouragement has been a constant source of strength throughout the demands of public life. I also thank the leader of the opposition, the member from South St. Andrew, for his leadership and the confidence that he has placed in me, and I want to especially commend him for his love and commitment to the Jamaican people. To my team members, chief among them are my councillors, the mayor, the councillor for Betheltown, Danry Delancey, the councillor for the Darlington Division, Jerome Bacchus, the councillor for the Leamington Division, Amarcard Brown, and the councillor for the White House Division, Michael Jackson. I also want to recognize my deputy or junior spokesperson, Reverend Dr. Paul Blake, who is also here with us. To the volunteers, researchers, and constituency workers whose dedication helped connect our work to the realities faced by our people every day, I say thank you. Most importantly, Madam Speaker, I thank the people of Eastern Westmoreland for the trust they have placed in me. I carried their voices into this chamber. The farmer worried about drought, the fisherman praying for calm seas, the mother struggling with rising food costs, the young person seeking opportunity, and the elderly citizen hoping not to be forgotten. That is why the theme of my contribution is a harvest the people can eat. Success in agriculture and fisheries must not be measured by speeches, announcements, or consultations. It must be measured by results. It must reflect in farmers who have reliable access to water, markets, and protection from disasters. Fishers who have the equipment and support they need. Affordable food for consumers. Thriving rural communities. Meaningful opportunities for young people, and a Jamaica that is less dependent on imported food. When Jamaicans still struggle to afford basic food, when farmers continue to face repeated disaster without timely recovery support, when fishers wait too long for assistance, and when young people remain locked out of agriculture because they cannot access land, financing, training, or markets, we must be honest with ourselves. The system is not delivering as it should. I say this not only as a member of parliament, but as a farmer myself. You're not keeping up if you don't know that I'm a farmer. You're not keeping up, you know. You're not keeping up. You're not keeping up. Madam Speaker, I know the anxiety of waiting on rainfall. I know the disappointment of seeing crops fail after months of labor. In communities like those across Eastern Westmoreland, agriculture issues. It is survival, dignity, opportunity, and hope. This debate, therefore, is not merely about statistics or policy documents. It is about whether the people of Jamaica, especially those in rural communities, feel protected, respected, and empowered by the policies of their government. Madam Speaker, I wish to place on the record a biblical principle directly to the issues before us today. Galatians 6:7 reminds us, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Whilst the Apostle Paul was speaking about moral responsibility, he used language every farmer understands. The principle is simple. There is a relationship between what is planted and what is harvested, between choices and consequences, between policy and outcomes. That principle applies equally to public policy. A country that sows weak planning cannot expect strong agricultural sector. A country that underinvests in irrigation, farm roads, agricultural resilience, fisheries infrastructure, and youth participation cannot expect to reap food security and rural prosperity. Not only of crops and fish, but of the harvest of governance itself. Ultimately, leadership is judged not by what announced, but by what the people are able to reap from our stewardship. Madam Speaker, agriculture and fisheries are not secondary sectors to be discussed only in times of crisis. They are fundamental to Jamaica's survival, stability, and economic independence. I acknowledge that some work has been done and some progress has been made. I acknowledge also the dedication of farmers, fishers, extension officers, technical staff, and rural communities. However, the real question is whether government policy has produced sufficient improvement in the lives of the people who depend on those sectors. Far too many Jamaicans answer that as no. Madam Speaker, if we wish to assess the true state of agriculture, we must look beyond announcement and examine the results. The figures are sobering. In 2025, Jamaica's food import bill rose to approximately US $1.46 billion. I don't know if the member speaking before has some updated information, because he said the food import bill is at $2 billion. That's US dollars. When the government came to office in 2016, that food import bill was at $834 million US dollars. Approximately 50% of what it is now. At the same time, agricultural exports declined from approximately US $288 million in 2024 to US $278 million in 2025. As a result, Jamaica now imports roughly $5 worth of food for every dollar earned from agricultural exports. These figures should concern every policymaker. Jamaica is blessed with fertile land, a strong agricultural tradition, and thousands of hard-working farmers. Yet we remain heavily dependent on imported food. Madam Speaker, praise for agriculture carries little weight if the food import bill continues to rise while agricultural export continues to decline. Ultimately, the production. This includes strengthening local feed production, supporting crops such as cassava, sweet potato, breadfruit, onions, Irish potato, sorghum, and providing incentives for farmers producing priority commodities. In the debate that we had on the Jamaica Dairy Board, I spoke about the opportunity that is there for milk and beef trimmings. But Irish potato, Madam Speaker, Jamaica imports between 19.5 million and 21 million tons of French fries annually, at a cost to the country of more than US $30 million each year. These figures, drawn from the last 5 years, highlight a significant opportunity for import substitution, value-added production, and rural economic growth. When the National Development Plan speaks of agribusinesses and value chain development, farmers and the wider agricultural sector expect to see practical strategies that can transform these imports into local production. Specifically, the country should be pursuing a plan to replace those imported French fries with the domestic production of approximately 34 to 36 million kilograms of Irish potatoes, based on a conversion ratio of 1.75 kilograms of Irish potatoes for every kilogram of French fries produced. Madam Speaker, the opportunities arising from such an initiative would extend across several agricultural regions of Jamaica. We have already demonstrated the capacity to successfully cultivate Irish potato in Manchester, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, St. James, and the Guysill Belt, spanning St. Catherine, St. Mary, and St. Anne. Many farming communities, including those in my own constituency, stand ready to participate and benefit from such an expansion. Based on the current yield, that we get in Jamaica of approximately 15 metric tons per hectare, if we were to take on that full demand, we would put 2,000 hectares of Irish potato under production. Madam Speaker, this is precisely the type of strategic thinking, detailed planning, and measurable economic opportunity that our farmers expect when government speaks about national development. Agribusiness and value chain development cannot remain abstract concepts in policy documents. They must be translated into clear production targets. Madam Speaker, I welcome the National Agricultural Development Plan and the efforts to establish a long-term vision for the sector. Jamaica needs a serious agricultural strategy, and on that principle there should be broad agreement in this House. However, our greatest challenge is not a lack of diagnosis. We already know the problems. We know that irrigation remains inadequate, access to financing and technology is limited, storage capacity is insufficient, production planning is inconsistent, export system can be burdensome, and too many farmers and fishers remain disconnected from the benefits of national policy. The danger is that the National Agricultural Development Plan becomes another document that accurately identifies problems but fails to meaningfully deliver change. Plans by themselves do not transform a country. Execution does. Execution requires clear priorities, measurable targets, transparent budget, defined responsibilities, regular reporting, and the political will to follow through. That is why I call for a public implementation framework to be attached to the plan, one that identifies priority project, timelines, funding sources, implementing agencies, and measurable outcomes. The Jamaican people deserve to know not only what is proposed, but how success will be measured and when results can be expected. Madam Speaker, Hurricane Melissa exposed serious weaknesses in the way we protect and support the people who feed this country. I witnessed the devastation firsthand in eastern Westmoreland. I met farmers who saw months of labor destroyed overnight. I spoke to fishers who lost boats, engine, traps, and equipment. I saw families wondering how they would recover and whether they could afford to start again. Behind every damaged farm is a family. Behind every destroyed boat is a livelihood. And behind every statistic is a human story. The damage revealed not only the impact of a hurricane, but the vulnerability of the systems on which farmers and fishers depend. No government can prevent a hurricane. The true test of leadership, however, is whether recovery systems are strong enough to respond quickly and help people rebuild with dignity. On that test, many farmers and fishers believe the system fell short.